Well, welcome to the Cardboard Bunker. My name is Pieburn and today we're playing some more Space Engineers. And I've turned the bar system off. I've let it, I'm letting all the materials get refined, and then I'm going to start building the assemblers. I want to have a lot more material refined before we start building the assemblers, because I believe that once we start using it, we're going to be using a lot of it. That's because we're installing 2 new bar systems in here today as well. So we've got the hydrogen tanks going and started, but this is the edge of the bars as far as I can tell. A lot of the heavy armor hasn't been welded in yet because we're waiting for steel plates. I'll take you back into the office chair. And this is all completely oxygenated now, as you can tell by the difference in sound. Take my headset off. Yeah, you saw a lot of blue there. I did a bit of exploring. We'll go through that soon. But I'll take you through what's being used right now. Okay, so we're currently going through. We've still got cobalt in there, but that's being done slowly. We're mainly using the nickel. I think it is, yeah. Mainly using for the nickel to get the motors done for all the conveyors that I've been building and have built. So refinery wise, you see we are producing a great deal. The uranium slowly being utilized, and Izzy is managing all of our materials. As I said before, you may have noticed all the waypoints. It's a certain little Pieburn. Went out and about exploring in this mini miner here. Whoa, oh, let's put our helmet back on, that would be helpful. So I went out in this little miner. I discovered the center of the universe by typing in 000. I thought that might be important to mark. Found some more platinum over there. We've got silver and gold, no, it's gold and iron over there. We've got ice, nickel and iron over that way. That way is closer to the scrapyard, I think it is, the pirate's base. And whilst exploring out this way and finding that one, I ran into a little bit of a drone. I think we still have some bits floating around. Yeah, so he came close to the base. I wasn't recording at the time and I couldn't get the recording software on quick enough, but basically that little array there just absolutely destroyed them. Had a couple of frigates float by, but they haven't quite got close enough yet, so there is a little bit more activity. Anyway, back to the Janus. I did some more plotting out. Now this has all been done in heavy armor, and that is the basic shape we're going for. So I haven't put the slanted blocks in yet because I want to build this out as armor first, and it's going to take a while, but we're going to have to build that all the way down and make sure that we make it look nice as it joins over. Let's get the pointer out. As it joins here, we'll sort of make it all blend in nicely over that way with blocks. Up the top here, we'll slowly blend this in. I've placed in a lot of the glass too. Put in all of this glass here, and it should all be so the shade is on the outside. We should be able to see clearly out once the airtight hangar doors are all lowered. I've done the same around this side, but all the way across, and I've replaced all of these hangar doors. I've kept them down so later on I can name them and make sure we have them termed correctly and added to the group so we can raise them all at once. But that's something you guys don't have to see. So the only part I haven't put glass in is here. I'm still trying to figure out if I want this to be a single 3x3 glass panel, because it should be centered enough for that, and then we can build the bridge cowling according to however. Either we go the 2x3 and just have it as a single window in the middle, or we go a 3x3 taking it up one more and just sort of adding to the awesomeness that is this giant bridge. Well, this is more of an observation area. This is for the people to walk around, sit down and watch the world go by, just in case we have some sort of passenger requirement. Up there would be the proper bridge, and I've listened to a couple of people who suggested maybe I keep the kink, and I've got a few ideas of making that a little bit more prominent, but I'll come back to that later. This bridge is going to be a slow work in progress because I kind of want to make sure it looks right, and then the rest of the ship on the outside will follow. But another thing that I've noticed is with me exploring, we need to make sure we protect this top deck as well. And I'm probably going to come back out a little further as well, probably another 3 squares before I start doing the engine, and I want that to be like an engineering couple of decks. I'm kind of trying to model it so there's a lot of space and gaps, but also so that it can be walked around on. I'm getting inspiration from the Enterprise in the actual series Enterprise. So I'll get back into placing the floor in here. Underneath I'll place a gravity generator so that we can walk around properly in this. And then I'll bring you back when we're getting ready to install the assembler arrays out the front here. So I'll bring you back then. Alright, so I've just been doing some block placing, fleshing out the area where we're going to have our main hydrogen. It will probably be, I'm thinking I want to do it 3 deep, as well as I've extended it back a little further now that I don't have to worry about squeezing in the refinery. Behind that will be the engineering department, as I said before. I also have this area at the back here I'm going to turn into like an emergency ammunition and storage area that will feed up into the top. And when I say top, I mean we're going to start marking out all the heavy armor up this way, and then putting in the piping for the turrets that will go on top. Now, at the moment we're just going to use standard vanilla turrets such as that, but I will eventually have some custom built ones that we'll put in there. No mods, just vanilla and script run. There's a couple I've got designs for and have blueprints for. Let's talk properly. Blueprints for as well. Yeah, they'll all be going in there later, but for now I just want to sort of get the defenses up. As I said before, we're doing some exploring, and with that big red marker, let's say marker, that big red marker in the middle of the screen, I could say other words, but they keep harassing me. These guys just keep flying past all the time. They get really close and then they just start flying away and disappear. Stops me from working. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried about defense. So I'm going to put some defenses on here. But to do that we need to get all the piping in. To get the piping in we need some materials. We need to include a bar system. So we're going to need some interior plate. I usually carry about 50. I'm probably going to go up to 60, 70, yeah. Come down here. Get our heavy armor. As you can see, I've added a slope here, but this will all be heavy armor right across, just to give you a demonstration. And on top of that we'll put blast door blocks, and we'll brace it with more heavy armor through the middle, and then we'll make sure everything else is sealed underneath. We want this to be as solid as possible. Eventually I'd like it to try and survive one of those damage test videos I've seen in the past. That would be nice. Now I've done the outline of the central part there. It's now time to start putting in the piping for all the turrets. We're going to leave a few blocks worth of space there for the cowling of the bridge to come down. I think I put a marker up here before, but I'm going to get rid of it. The cowling's probably going to come down to about here, so we'll put a line armor block there to remind us. We need to make sure we leave ourselves enough room. Now that makes me nervous having such a long span, so while it's connected on the other side, we'll put some of these in here. Don't know if it still affects the sim time, but don't like having rattling pieces of pipes or pipes being damaged and, you know, not being able to use them. Now I'm pretty sure I could make this extra secure and have those sorts of have the conveyor junctions everywhere, but right, now we'll place the conveyor junctions where we want. Again, even if I don't use all these now, it does help reduce the incidence of broken pipes and pipes rattling around the inside of his ship. So that layer there will all be heavy armor. So these will be inside the heavy armor, and we'll put blast doors around the outside of that. You'll see that later on. But inside here, we're also going to have blast doors. So there should be the blast door blocks, like on the base, and then heavy armor, and then above that heavy armor another layer of blast door blocks, just to sort of make the whole thing look a little bit more dynamic, I suppose is a good word. Just do that. Thank you very much. Okay, so while we're sitting up here and waiting, and can't really do much because the sun's underneath us today, so I'll have to wait a little while before I come back in. I'll let the refineries keep refining, but you can start to see how the grid can be helpful in keeping this symmetrical. Now the bridge is meant to be, well I say bridge, observation deck / bridge. We'll just keep calling it the bridge. I think the bridge is meant to be off center essentially by 1 square, just to reduce the likelihood that the walkway will get damaged too easily. Now, currently there's no howling over the walkway, but we will eventually put one in. The whole idea behind that walkway is just to be like a gangway essentially. I was going to do pistons and stuff, but so much easier when you're building something this big, just to have it as a solid gangway. So that whole big tunnel down there is all part of the base. In there we'll pull those apart, and we'll have the ship separate later on. I want to have it separate because I want to change the skin on it, but I don't want to change the skin on the base. And I want to change the base color on this, but I don't want to change the base color on the base, and it will be too much of a pain to revert back. So everything's going to be in the nice, beautiful, dull light grey. And as you can see, it's starting to take a little bit more of a shape, and you can see the size. Again, now we're going to come back another 3 of these squares for the engineering department before we start doing the actual engine bay itself. Down the sides here, more than likely, is where we're going to start adding things like storage, steering like gyros, batteries, backup systems. We'll probably do things like engineers quarters, and put some quarters down this way, as well as some forward, as well as some mid. And yeah, we'll see exactly what we get to do. So yeah, I'll be back in a moment once I've recharged and the sun's back up in this position, and we'll continue from there. Alright, I'm back. I couldn't be bothered waiting. It was taking way too long. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so I need some parts. See what I've got left in this little dude. What has the turtle got? Oh, you got lots of plate. Got some interior plate. Helpful. We'll start placing the heavy armor blocks for back here, just to mark out where we want the engine bay to be. Oh, that's 3 blocks. That's what I said. We'll bring this down just so we've got it marked out. Now I want to make sure that we can get the bobs in range, but I also don't want it to be too far out of range either. So the reason I'm putting all these in now is so we've got a good idea. That's a good word. a good idea, a good approximation of where the engines will be. And I'm actually going to use light armor just in case it does get built. From memory, we'll be able to build them now. Pretty sure, yeah, they are. Pretty sure I unlocked them already. I want to see how big a large ion thruster is. Again, this is just to see. Right, that's about right. So 4 blocks for the large ion thruster. And the hydrogen thruster would be something similar, but the hydrogen thruster needs piping. It has various options for piping for the large hydrogen. That's one less. No. A little bit click happy. Yeah. But 4 should be enough if we leave ourselves space for 4. Okay, so that's basically one more block back. But if we want to get really fancy, no, we don't want to get really fancy. We want something basically functional, but we are going to make it a little aesthetically pleasing through the lines and through the small details. So we may end up making this a lot further back, then bring it out and have sort of layers of engines. We've got a fairly wide space to go with, and I want to have at least one row of hydrogen tanks for every large hydrogen thruster on the back here, and then we'll use other ones to help us for braking later on. As I said, we'll probably end up getting away with the 5 columns, 4 rows, 20 rows in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 2s is 16, so 160 hydrogen tanks in the back. We'll also have something similar but a bit smaller in the front to help with the braking thrust. Downward thrust and things like that will all be inside these armor blocks, so we'll have openings that will allow the thrusters to come through. It should work. We'll use mainly small ones, forward and downward thrust, just to minimize the impact on the armor and the armor design. Now what is this? Oh, piece of scrap. Yes, we've had a couple of ships fly by and get destroyed by the turrets. This is why we're hurrying up a little bit on the turret manufacture and placement. Oh, we need some more of those. That will do. Actually, I should be able to access it through those. I don't know why I keep flying back so far. Actually, I went perfect. Look at that. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we know where the engines will be. I'll put these ones in here. So I know that there should be armor in between. And we can make that go out even further if we want, so no issue there at all. Here's the top armor here. Then I'll leave that one there and then we'll come down to this spot here. I believe that's what it will line up inside. I'll get rid of these ones because we don't need them anymore. Okay, so that's going to be the armor over the engine, so that definitely will come out further. Probably come out another 5 or 6 blocks. I'll slope that in and make it look really cool. I'll do the same down here. But yeah, it's starting to come together. Slowly becoming something a bit more. Which is critical. I'll jump back into the ship. Look at that. And I'll wait a little longer while I recharge and then we'll come back. Hello, this is Future Pi. I have come back into the world at a future date to do the outro because I had way too much footage. The footage I had for episode 15 would now appear in the beginning of episode 16. So that'll be the assembler placing and talking about bars So I will say thank you very much for watching. Please follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Pieburn. I stream Monday nights and Wednesday nights and occasionally on Fridays. Yeah, and also I should have episode 16 out a little sooner, fingers crossed, than I normally do. Thanks very much for watching and have fun. Bye.